Hey everyone, it's Christina Holloway here. Welcome back to my channel. Let's be honest, most people hate networking. It feels awkward, forced, or like you're trying to sell yourself to strangers. But here's the thing, your career will grow faster if you build the right relationships before you need them. Today, I'll walk you through how to network in a way that feels natural, builds real connection, and opens up real opportunities without feeling fake or overwhelming. All right, so let's get started. So, I've talked about networking before. I have some videos on how to network effectively, and I have one in particular about creating an influence chart. I'm going to touch on that again. But I wanted to talk about the differences between networking at your company internally versus outreach to connections externally, and also the differences between how women network and how men network. And this isn't about doing it wrong. It's about understanding the nuances and differences so you can get the most out of it. One more thing, and this is just an anecdote. In the year between when I left my corporate job to when I started coaching full time, I would experiment with networking events. And I challenged myself to go to as many networking events as I could in that year and go alone and see what I might observe or learn about the process. So I'm going to share all of that with you. This is a big networking video. First, here's the biggest mistake I see. People think networking means handing out business cards at events or pitching yourself on LinkedIn. But real networking isn't transactional, it's relational. This is about building strong, mutually beneficial relationships. It's also about staying visible in your field, building trust over time, and being known for something valuable. With a small shift in perspective, we can see networking is more than just making contacts. You're building your career safety net. Networking is really about staying connected with people who want to see you succeed. That's a very important nuance to remember. Okay, so I just recently gave a presentation on the differences between how men and women network, and especially what they hope to gain from networking. It helps to lean into what works well for you. That's step one. The challenge is to lean further into the follow up. That's step two. So essentially, men like to make broad connections built on trust and professional identity. Oh, you're a VP at XYZ Corp? We should talk. And then nurture those connections into relationships that will be mutually beneficial over the long term. The benefits? Well, these are great high level connections, maybe based on social interactions, golf outings, group chats, introductions over drinks. The limitations? These connections could be based on weak tie activation and task oriented communication. They can become very transactional and limited in benefits over time. Women like to build relationships early and nurture those relationships before establishing how they can turn into mutually beneficial connections over time. Their trust comes from establishing credibility through shared values or personal rapport. The benefits? They establish trust early and maybe build deep connections with a select few. The limitations? Women may be reluctant to ask for favors early or feel pressure to earn the ask. And they also may be more likely to build deep networks that remain under leveraged. Some women may never learn how to take those relationships and nurture them into mutually beneficial connections. I understand that not everyone is like this, fine, but there are strengths in each approach. And I'll share the research on these differences in the description below if you'd like to see some additional details. So, bottom line, you don't need to start from scratch. Start with what feels natural to you and then follow through on the second step, the follow up. That part is the bigger challenge. Here's where you can start. Former colleagues you haven't talked to in a while, clients, vendors, or partners who already trust you, people from school, training programs, or even past jobs. Start by reconnecting. Just say, hey, I was thinking of you and wanted to catch up. That's it. Networking starts with a conversation. That's your in. No pitch, no pressure, just genuine connection. And yes, a short LinkedIn message absolutely counts. I have made great networking connections on LinkedIn. Okay, so once you figure out your networking style and how the step one comes naturally to you, and you've practiced the step two, Then you want to use networking strategically. We're going to talk about what it means to build an effective network internally versus externally, and how an influence chart can help you network with the right people. So, with most of my clients, they want to know and understand what it means to get in front of people just outside their orbit at the company where they work. I often reference an influence chart. Just pull together a list of people, usually stakeholders, skip levels, and decision makers at your company, and chart them out on a piece of paper. Rank them as how important they will be to your success. Success with projects, visibility, getting promoted, anything that's important to you for your career development inside the organization. Then take that chart and start working on making those connections. There are a lot of benefits to nurturing your influence chart. It's going to help you with visibility, and that will help you see and move towards opportunities as they come up. This is a powerful way to stay nimble inside an organization. Now, networking externally is the thing that most people really don't like, and they don't do it well. This could be seen as attending networking events and handing out business cards. One very low risk way to network externally is to try hard to stay in touch with people who've left the company where you work and moved on, maybe to a competitor. That way, you start to build up a network of people who are spreading out in your industry. It's hard because many times once a person leaves, that connection can die out unless you both work at it. It's fine. Just give it a try. Even if 1 out of 10 works, that's still good. Now, to build out your external network, you don't need to attend 100 events or post on social media every day, but you do need some visibility. Pick 1 or 2 spaces where you'll consistently show up. Consider any combination of these options. It could be a professional LinkedIn group where you'll contribute and gain value from it. You can pick specific industry events or webinars. You could join the local Chamber of Commerce, women's network, or alumni group. You could volunteer with a meaningful nonprofit or head up committees that align with your career goals. This is important. People remember those who show up, contribute meaningfully, and follow through. Even once a month is enough if you're consistent. Also, I've done all of these things. Some worked and some didn't, but I've expanded my network. And for some people, this is hard. I think what makes it less overwhelming is getting involved inside an industry you love or a nonprofit that feeds your soul. Something really meaningful that resonates with you will be far less intimidating than just cold outreach. And that takes me to the last part of this video, what a year of networking taught me. This is just a quick anecdote of how networking can work for you or take you full circle. The first thing to remember is that people connect with value, not job titles. While I went out to all kinds of networking events, it was clear that most people tried really hard to get their business cards in front of the featured speakers, the guest panelists, or the VPs and CEOs who would show up. Those people are way too busy to remember you or follow up with you in a meaningful way. Feel free to connect with them, but don't pin your hopes on building a big relationship with them, especially if you're connecting with them randomly. The best connections come from commonality. So ask yourself, what can I offer? Insight, help, perspective, encouragement that makes people remember me in a good way. You don't need to be flashy. You can share a great article as a follow-up. You can introduce 2 people who should meet. I just did that with 2 of my colleagues last week. I introduced them to each other at a networking event. You can compliment someone's recent work, take the time to read it, and then create a connection from that work to what you're doing today that adds relevance, and then ask for a follow-up conversation. These things build reputation fast, and they make people want to help you in return. And this is true. Most of my biggest opportunities came not from selling, but from helping. A few years ago, I joined the Forbes Coaches Council, and that gave me opportunity to write for Forbes, which I did. Someone in the Chicago area reached out for all the Chicago Forbes coaches to meet, and we did. So many years later, I was meeting with a new connection for coffee, and we were talking about creating a mastermind just for us. We agreed to each bring a person. That way, there were 4 of us. At that follow-up meeting, I sat across the table from this new connection, and he looked me up on LinkedIn to connect. And he said, "Oh, Christina, we have over 50 connections in common." So I immediately said to him, "Oh, I think we've met before." And it turned out he's the one who organized that Forbes social event like 5 years earlier. It was great to reconnect with him. We stayed in that mini mastermind for about 2 years, and it was very helpful. Collectively, we all connected each other to some great people and opportunities. Stay open to what's possible and be just a little optimistic with your networking efforts. Sometimes these connections don't do much, but sometimes they evolve in pretty amazing ways. Networking doesn't have to be fake, exhausting, or overwhelming. It can be natural, powerful, and honestly pretty fun when you focus on building real relationships that grow with you. So don't wait until you're job hunting to start. Start now. Reach out, reconnect, and keep showing up where it matters. All right, so that's it for my video on how to network successfully for your career. If you have any tips and tricks on how to network effectively, please share them in the comments below. I would love to hear about them. And if you want leadership advice that's grounded in real life resilience, check out my newsletter, The Executive Edge, or join my private LinkedIn group, Leadership Lunch Break. I've linked everything in the description below. And if you've enjoyed watching this video and you found it helpful, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up by hitting that like button, and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you never miss another video from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.